I'd like to share with you what I've learned over the years in many different countries regarding solar ovens. And what I've learned basically is that they do not have to be that complicated. They can be very simply built and work very effectively, especially if the utensils that are used are black. If the utensils used, the cookware, is black, then all you really need is foil on the walls of the solar oven, all the way around, and even underneath. So you have glass covering, say, a cardboard box, even with foil adhered to the sides. That is a beautiful, very effective solar oven using black utensils. If the utensils, however, are light colored, then you really do want to have insulation all the way around. And instead of foil, you now want to have a black surface all inside this oven, so that when the sun penetrates, it's attracted to the black on the surface instead of a utensil. And so here you do need to have insulation to hold in the thermal heat from the sun. I found out that in Chile, next to the stove, as soon as a pot was heated up to boiling temperatures or to the hottest point possible, then they could turn off their gas stove, saving a whole lot of energy, and simply putting the pot inside what could be a solar oven, but might simply be an insulated box in the house, right next to the stove, with an insulative lid that is closed, so that the food continues to cook with its own heat. This is called a thermal oven. And so I realized that if you have black, or let's take in this case light-colored utensils, and you have this out in the sun with glass over it, then that's a solar oven that'll work quite well with black surface on the inside. With an insulative lid and foil placed on the inside of that insulative lid, then the sun will bounce off of that, and it'll increase the amount of solar gain during the day when the sun is out. But if the sun does go down or goes behind a cloud, then this insulative lid can be closed, and now this becomes a thermal oven. So a solar oven and a thermal oven combination works quite well with light-colored cookware. Now, if the cookware is black, then it becomes quite simple. You have a reflective lid that could be made out of just plywood or even cardboard that reflects the sun during the day onto a black surface. So you have on the inside of this reflective foil to bounce the sun, and the radiant energy from the pot is bounced back and forth inside the solar oven. And this lid can be closed when the sun goes down, so that it becomes a thermal oven. And this works, of course, with black cookware. We found out that 1 layer of foil, okay, reflects 97% of radiant heat back towards the radiant surface. So 97% of the heat that has been accumulated from sunshine can be preserved simply by having foil around the black cookware. And I realized that a home with a thermal mass like we have had in our home in Vallecitos, New Mexico, we had 5 tons of adobe under us. I realized that we didn't need to have a lot of insulation in the house. We did happen to build it with straw bales, so it was quite insulated. But if it were simply foil, the radiant heat coming off of the adobe, which, by the way, is heated through with the sun through 36 feet of glass, that 5 tons of adobe would reflect 97% of all the heat would just stay in the home with simply having walls of foil, which of course would not be that attractive, but can be built into walls which really require no further insulation. And it's something to explore, because a wall can have, say, drywall to make it look good. And as long as there's an airspace between that drywall and foil, the foil will reflect back 97% of all the radiation from within the house, from the wood heat or the adobe floor. And so theoretically a house could be built very inexpensively. The roof, of course, would be supported by posts, or in the case of a straw bale home, the roof can actually rest on the straw bales. Straw bale homes built in the 1800s have only settled half an inch with the roof on top of the straw bales. These are load-bearing straw bales, and since the 1800s have only sunk down half an inch. As long as the straw is kept dry by using stucco, cement stucco on the outside of the straw bales. I like using the wavy chicken wire and stuccoing the outside. Straw bales are put in with the straw lying horizontally, so if you look at it from the side, there are just thousands of little openings where the cement will penetrate like teeth to hold the stucco and to keep the outside of the straw impermeable from moisture. The inside of the straw is adobe, usually, for stucco, which can breathe and allow any moisture that accumulates from the atmosphere in the straw bale to release through adobe, which is not impermeable, which can breathe, and in this way keep the walls integrated and able to support an entire roof for a long time. Now I'm going to move over and take a look here on my computer at some photos of solar ovens. This is my favorite design right here, and we'll be coming back to that. Here's the one that we built for Northern New Mexico College, and you can see it's all aluminum foil for heating. Here's a thermal oven showing the insulated lid. This is in Spanish, horno termal. Here's showing the placing a piano hinge on the glass frame, then it's flipped over so that the piano hinge, it looks like this, and you can open up the glass to place food inside or remove it or whatever. And then on that glass hinge is another hinge for the lid. So I really like this design. It's very easy to use, works very well. So there's some solar ovens that I have known and thermal ovens, and as I pointed out, the combination of solar ovens and thermal ovens is I think the best way to go.